Hello, and welcome back to Blue Collar Watches. Yeah, that's a mess of watches in front of me. I'm making this video based on a request of a new subscriber, and his question was, "Hey Blue, I just started collecting. What watches would you select as a new, collector? What watches would you suggest that I start collecting?" Well, buy what you like. Number one, don't let anybody sway you into a particular brand. There's a lot of different brands out there, but as I've gone across my watch collecting journey, these are all on my less expensive watches. There's nothing here, I don't think, over $150. So maybe this Citizen, I can't remember what I paid for this Citizen. I got ripped off on this one. I bought that in a brick and mortar store. But anyway, as you start, there's a lot of different brands. The number one watch that I would absolutely suggest to every new collector is the Seiko 5 series. And keep in mind, there is different levels in the Seiko 5 series. This was my first automatic watch. This was a Christmas present from my wife. I told her I wanted a nice watch. I'd like to have a Seiko. I believe this watch was sub $100. They're on the rise, but you can pick these up for $100, $120. Very good watches to start out with, especially if you're into automatics. Keep in mind with Seikos, you're going to get a nice watch. They have good movements in them. That's why everybody uses the NH35. Excellent movements. You're not going to get a sapphire crystal. They're almost always a Hardlex crystal, but Seiko does an awesome job on their dials. Subpar bands. I'm not a big fan of the bands that Seiko uses most of the time, but Seiko uses the same lume across their whole spectrum of watches. This watch has excellent lume, as does this one. These were my first couple automatic watches. But again, these bands have been replaced because the bands that they come on pretty much suck. And then continuing with the Seiko series, you have the Recraft series. I've noticed these to be on the rise in price. These are both Seiko Recraft. Good automatic watches. Of the two Recrafts that I have purchased, neither one of these has lume. It appears like they have lume, but they don't. Do your homework when researching a watch. I think this was the first Recraft I bought. And just based on the photos of it, I bought this on Amazon. I bought this on Amazon. These watches don't have lume. I really do, at this point, prefer my watches to have lume. It's just when you're wearing them in the evening, it helps a lot to have some lume on your watch. The budget Seikos are extremely good to buy. These are both quartz watches. These are the Seiko series, Seiko Sur series. Good watches. This watch obviously has no lume. I don't even think I paid $100 for this one. I bought this one at the store. I initially thought this was a solar watch, and I fell in love with this dial, this face, and I ended up going and said, screw it, I'm going to buy it. But this was the first quartz watch that I bought for myself. Seiko Sur series, 100 to 130. You might find them sub 100, but $100, $130. Pretty darn nice watches. This one actually is on a decent band. This one is okay band. But again, generally with the Seikos, no sapphire crystal. And generally the bands are of, I would say the bands are of low quality. Most of my Seikos I have replaced the band on. Now the next ones that I would highly recommend, Casios. You cannot go wrong with a Casio. This is a solar powered Casio. I did change the band on this one because the band on this was it was a leather band, but it was kind of like vinyl-like feeling. So I put a real leather band on here. I think I paid $32 for this watch. You can't go wrong with a solar watch, and this is metal. It may not be 316L stainless steel, but it's a metal case, good dial. It's a solar watch. You cannot go wrong with a Casio. Oh, one just fell. This is another Casio that I have, upside down. I think I might have paid $35 for this one. It wasn't a lot. Excellent watch. The band on this one is not particularly great, but Who cares? I didn't pay a lot for the watch. Let me pick up this one I dropped. It was one of my six. Oh no, this is a Timex. I've noticed these on Amazon getting more expensive also. This is a Timex Solar. I have a love of Timex watches because that's what I wore for years and years and years, was cheap Timex watches, cheap Timex quartz watches. Back in the day, when Timex used to make the wind-up watches, I had a couple of those when I was in the military. I never spent a lot of money on a watch back in the day because I was probably going to break it. And I have broken a lot of watches over the years. Timex makes good watches, decent price. So does Citizen. This is one of my Citizen Solars. As you go to Solars, you can't beat Citizens. Solid watches. You can usually get a decent Citizen, $140, $150. The bands on these are okay, pretty decent. This is another Casio. This is the only G-Shock that I own. And this watch has actually increased in value a lot. Well, not so much that it's increased in value. The price of it has increased. This is what they call a radio-controlled watch. This connects to the solar clock in Colorado, and it's always right. It's one of the features I love about this watch, and it has a light. Excellent watch at night. And Casio G-Shocks, they're described as tanks. They work really well. This is an AliExpress watch. Don't let people sway you out of AliExpress watches. This is a Pagani design. I'm kind of on the fence about Pagani design. I bought 3 Pagani designs. Two of the 3 that I've got have had issues. One had a cracked crystal on the back when I bought it. The other one, the bezel, it's a diver watch. The bezel was really sloppy. And I wasn't real thrilled with that. But I repaired the other one with some resin with the cracked crystal on the back. I have a video up of that where I did that. This is a recent brand within the last few months that I've come across that I've really fallen in love with. Tandorios. Again, AliExpress watch. And most AliExpress watches, they're what we, the collect, call spec monsters. NH35, oh, this has an NH36 in it because it has day date. Sapphire crystal, 316 all stainless steel. I did replace the band on this one. These all came with a silicone strap. Personal preference of mine, I like stainless steel straps. But there is a lot of brands on AliExpress that are really good. Addies Dive, Steel Dive, Tandorio, Pagani design. A lot of people like Pagani design. A lot of people like San Martin. I can't see spending the money on a San Martin myself because I feel like they're nice watches, but I'm not going to pay $200 in excess of $200 for an AliExpress watch. Just a personal opinion of mine. I think that's all of them I threw in there. But when it comes to collecting, as you start collecting, I would highly suggest looking when you're researching a watch, look up as many videos as you can on that particular watch and learn about it. Pretty much guarantee somebody's done a review of the watch that you're interested in, especially on YouTube. There's a lot of content creators that make excellent videos and will give you some insight to that particular watch. Do check. Some of these guys are, I'm not going to say so much compensated. Some of them are given the watch to review. There are content creators out there that they don't care if they were given the watch for free. They give you their honest opinion. And there are also content creators, they're gonna talk up the watch because they want more free watches. I've only received one watch that was sent in to me from Ben's Watch Club, and that was the Spaghetti Skemetti. I should have threw that in here, but just be wary. No, and usually they'll tell you, this was sent into the channel by such and such. But there's a lot to collect. After automatics, I love solars. This is my Casio Edifice Solar. I found this on sale. I bought this in a brick and mortar store. This was in the clearance aisle at JCPenney. I can't remember what I paid for this. It wasn't a lot. No, wait a minute. I bought this on Amazon. But that was on clearance. Generally, when you go sub $100, which mostly you're going to find on AliExpress, there's nothing wrong with AliExpress watches. You're going to have people that hate on them irregardless. Oh, another one that off to the side. Invictus. You're going to have a lot of Invicta haters. And they're fine watches. Some of the guys, they like that really big watch, but they make decent watches. This is only 40 millimeter, the Invicta 1953. I had one of the guys I worked with the other night, and he was looking at this, and he's like, wow, that's an Invicta? I thought all Invictas were ugly. No. NH35, they're not horrible. Not all of them. Well, I don't want to rag too much on what somebody else likes. Because I have 3 guys I work with. This is exclusively what they collect is Invictus. But they're into those bigger watches. Had to pause the video because I was starting to cough. Nothing wrong with Invictus. Collect what you like. Don't let a coworker, somebody that you know, talk you out of a brand. You know, pretty much if the watch has a Seiko movement in it, it's a relatively decent watch. And again, AliExpress watches, nothing wrong with, I own plenty of AliExpress watches. Nothing wrong with these Chinese watches. And you know what? A lot of these come from China anyway. China dominates in the watch industry, or they're at least assembled in China. I have a strong love, like I said, for Timex. Wore them for years. And this is a pretty good solar watch. I do stay away from the Timex automatics. I think they're overpriced based on the movement. They put a Miyota 8215 in them. Not a particularly, it's a budget movement. You can buy the Miyota 8215 for like $10, $15 on AliExpress. Not a horrible movement, but something I generally sway away from. Although I do have a couple of watches with the Miyota 8215 on it. If it's priced appropriately, I will buy it. I don't really know what else to say. Oh, if you're researching movements, Caliber Corner, they have a website. They're on YouTube. That's like your Bible. If you're looking at a watch and you think to yourself, well, I don't know nothing about this movement, Caliber Corner. Always, the guy is phenomenal. He has a great resource when it comes to researching the movements on watches, even the quartz movements. He's like the Bible for guys that collect. I would, again, buy what you like. Nothing wrong with AliExpress. Amazon Warehouse. I've bought, I don't know, maybe 3 watches out of Amazon Warehouse. Sometimes you can find something in Amazon Warehouse that was open, but it's still in the original package, wrapped in plastic. And, I guess you'll find a person that had buyer's remorse. I bought one of my Tissot's out of Amazon Warehouse, where it's like a $500 watch that I picked up for $300 because people are like, oh man, I spent way too much on this. My wife's pissed off at me. And this can be an expensive hobby. That's where AliExpress comes in. You can get some really nice watches off of AliExpress for a reasonable price. Okay, this video is getting longer than I usually make them. And I'm kind of babbling at this point. For those of you that are new to collecting, welcome to Horology. You're going to blow a lot of money. That's all I can tell you. If you get into this, you're going to blow a lot of money. You're going to spend, some people have a preset limit of what they will spend on a watch. I kind of do, but then when I find something really nice on sale, I pull the trigger. There are a lot of content creators on YouTube that do excellent jobs on reviews. Always look, once you find out the model number, punch it into YouTube. Somebody's done a review on it. And good luck. And when you find a bargain, buy it. But like I said, do your homework. Google. Find out what they're going for. Is this a good deal? That's the best I can tell you. And all these brands here, I recommend them. Casio, Timex, Seiko, Citizen, Tandorio, Pagani Design. They still make good, Pagani Design still makes good watches. I haven't had a lot of luck with them. Invicta, not that horrible. They make a lot of decent sized, regular looking watches that aren't humongous. All right, this video is getting too long. I'm going to wrap it up. That's it.